Imagine a machine. It weighs 180 tons. It costs more than $200 million. It requires years to build and months to install. Without it, the AI revolution stops. No advanced NVIDIA chips, no cutting-edge smartphones, no next-generation supercomputers, no future of artificial intelligence. From the outside, it looks like industrial equipment, a machine inside a factory, nothing more. But beneath the surface, it controls one of the most important bottlenecks in modern civilization. Because every advanced microchip begins in the same place. Not inside Silicon Valley, not inside Beijing, not inside Washington. Inside a machine built by a company most people have never heard of, ASML. And eventually, the monopoly becomes absolute, not because competitors lack ambition, but because reality itself becomes difficult to replicate.
When people study artificial intelligence, they often focus on visible outcomes: the software, the chatbot, the application, the founder, the valuation, the stock price. These are the visible layers, and visible layers attract attention because they are easy to understand. But systems rarely reveal themselves at the surface. The strongest forces often operate underneath, invisible, quiet, ignored. Because software is not the beginning of the story. Software is the result. The real story begins much earlier, inside a semiconductor factory, where intelligence is printed into silicon, long before an AI model writes its first sentence, long before a startup reaches $1 billion valuation, long before investors celebrate another breakthrough. Because before intelligence can exist, a chip must exist. And before a chip can exist, something else must happen first. Light must become computation.
Every era creates its own bottlenecks. Empires controlled roads, kingdoms controlled ports, nations controlled oil. The digital economy created something different, a bottleneck built from physics, a bottleneck built from light. Because modern civilization depends on advanced compute, and advanced compute depends on advanced chips. The challenge sounds simple: print smaller transistors, increase computing power, reduce energy consumption. But every generation creates a new problem. The laws of physics become harder to negotiate. Precision becomes harder to achieve. Complexity becomes harder to manage. Eventually, the barrier becomes so high that only one company can cross it. And that company sits quietly in the Netherlands, at the center of the global semiconductor ecosystem. The question is no longer who builds the best AI. The question is who controls the machine that makes AI possible.
Behind ASML's dominance, three systems quietly perform the majority of the work. The first is light. Not ordinary light, extreme ultraviolet light. Light so difficult to produce that it became an industry of its own. The second is reflection. Because EUV light cannot pass through traditional lenses, it must be guided by mirrors. Mirrors polished to atomic perfection. Mirrors so precise that measuring their imperfections becomes a scientific challenge. The third system is motion. Silicon wafers moving at extraordinary speeds, maintaining accuracy measured in nanometers. The laser creates the light. The mirrors guide the light. The stage positions the silicon. Together, they transform physics into computation. Most people look at NVIDIA. The best systems thinkers look beneath NVIDIA, because a monopoly is rarely a product. A monopoly is a collection of irreplaceable systems producing outcomes, and ASML built one of the most important systems on Earth.
Monopoly is often misunderstood. People imagine patents, corporate lawyers, aggressive executives, predatory pricing, and those components matter. But true monopoly is larger than strategy. True monopoly is infrastructure. Infrastructure accumulated over decades. Infrastructure embedded into supply chains. Infrastructure protected by complexity. Because ASML did not build a machine. ASML built an ecosystem. German optics, American software, Japanese materials, Dutch engineering, thousands of suppliers, thousands of specialists, thousands of scientific breakthroughs, all connected into a single architecture. And that architecture became the real advantage, because competitors are not competing against a company. They are competing against decades of accumulated capability. The stronger the infrastructure, the less the company fears competition. The stronger the ecosystem, the harder replication becomes. And eventually, complexity itself becomes the moat.
Governments understand the importance of semiconductors. They understand the importance of AI, and they understand the importance of ASML, which creates an obvious question. Why not build another ASML? The answer reveals the true nature of infrastructure power. Money can buy factories. Money can hire engineers. Money can fund research. But money cannot compress time. Every layer creates another dependency. Every dependency creates another bottleneck. Every bottleneck creates another delay. Years become decades. Billions become hundreds of billions. The challenge compounds faster than capital can solve it. The mirrors warp. The alignment drifts. The precision deteriorates. The timeline slows down. The symptom appears to be engineering failure, but beneath the surface, the real problem is architectural. Because advanced technology is not built by isolated companies. It is built by interconnected systems, and systems are far more difficult to copy.
Many people believe money creates technology, but money does something else. Money buys access to existing infrastructure. Infrastructure creates technology. The chip is visible. The lithography machine is not. The AI model is visible. The manufacturing ecosystem is not. The application is visible. The bottleneck is not. And that changes everything. Because wealth rarely accumulates at the surface. It accumulates inside dependency, inside infrastructure, inside systems, inside bottlenecks. The layers everyone relies upon. The layers nobody can easily replace. The layers quietly determining what becomes possible. And ASML occupies one of those layers, not because it controls software, but because it controls the machine that makes software possible.
The strongest monopolies often appear simple. Chips are shipped. AI models are trained. Products are launched. Progress continues. But simplicity is usually the result of sophisticated design. The visible layer becomes effortless because the invisible layer performs the difficult work. This is the mindset shift. Stop asking, how do I build the next application? Start asking, what infrastructure makes applications possible? Stop asking, who owns the product? Start asking, who owns the bottleneck? Because bottlenecks create leverage. Infrastructure creates dependency. Dependency creates power, and power compounds over time. The companies shaping the future are often not the companies receiving the most attention. They are the companies controlling the flow.
Most people focus on what they can see: the application, the software, the stock ticker, the growth, the headlines. But beneath every durable empire, something else exists. An invisible engine, quietly, consistently, relentlessly, producing outcomes long after the initial work is complete. Because success is rarely built on visibility alone. It is built on infrastructure, and infrastructure is where leverage lives. This is Silicon Capital, decoding infrastructure, understanding power. NEXERA, decoding systems, architecting wealth.